There comes a point in every person's journey where even breathing feels like effort. You wake up and it's like your mind is carrying invisible weights. The smallest things drain you, the people around you feel distant, and the world that once seemed full of color now looks faded and gray. You can sense something inside you shifting, but you can't explain it. It's not sadness, it's not boredom, it's something deeper. It's your spirit signaling that it's time for a reset. Spiritual reset. This is the hidden stage of higher consciousness that no one talks about. The in-between space where you've outgrown the old version of yourself but haven't yet stepped into the new one. It's the moment where the chosen ones feel torn between chaos and clarity. You might think you're breaking down, but what's really happening is you're breaking open. Life isn't falling apart to punish you. It's falling apart to push you toward awakening. When life feels heavy, it's usually because you've been carrying too much that doesn't belong to you. The opinions of others, the expectations of society, the pressure to always be strong, the endless need to keep going, even when your energy is screaming to stop. You become like a phone with too many apps open, slow, drained, overheated. But instead of resetting, you just keep charging. You keep pushing through, until one day no amount of charging works anymore. That's when you realize the truth. Your soul doesn't need more energy, it needs a reboot. The irony is that the people who need this the most are usually the ones who give the most. The ones who listen, help, support, and love deeply. The chosen ones who silently carry the energy of everyone around them without even realizing it. They absorb chaos like a sponge and then wonder why they feel exhausted after being around certain people. It's because your energy has been leaking into places that were never meant to receive it. But here's the thing. You can't reset by escaping life. You reset by reconnecting with it differently. The old you lived in reaction mode, chasing peace, chasing success, chasing validation. The new you will start creating peace, not chasing it. That's what the reset is all about. It's not a step backward. It's a step inward. Sometimes the heaviness you feel is not because your life is falling apart, but because you're resisting change. You've built an identity around survival. The strong one, the helper, the achiever, the quiet observer. And now life is asking you to let that identity dissolve. That's scary because your mind thinks it's losing control, but your higher self knows you're just returning to who you were before fear shaped you. The process starts quietly. One day you wake up and realize the things that once motivated you don't excite you anymore. The people you used to tolerate suddenly drain you. You start craving solitude, silence, and simplicity. You no longer want to argue or prove your worth. You just want peace. That's the signal that your old self is running on empty, and your new self is waiting to be born. But this transition is tricky, because the human mind doesn't like uncertainty. It wants quick answers and familiar patterns. It doesn't understand that spiritual growth often looks like standing still, while everything inside you reorganizes itself. You'll want to rush it, fix it, escape it, but every time you do, the heaviness returns. It's not because you failed. It's because your spirit is refusing to move forward without you being fully present. Think of it like this. Imagine you're carrying a backpack full of rocks. Each rock represents something you've been holding on to. Guilt, comparison, overthinking, emotional wounds, past versions of yourself. You've carried them for so long that you don't even notice the weight anymore. You've mistaken heaviness for normal. But eventually your body, your mind, your energy, they all start to rebel. They whisper, "Let go." But instead of listening, you tighten the straps. You think, "I can handle it," until one day you can't. That's when the real reset begins. It doesn't start with motivation. It starts with honesty, with the moment you finally stop pretending that you're okay. The moment you sit down and say, something needs to change, and it's not the world, it's me. That honesty is raw. It's uncomfortable, but it's sacred. Because the moment you face your truth, the healing begins. You might notice that your mind starts to panic during this phase. It will tell you that you're falling behind, that you're losing control, that you're wasting time. But don't believe it. You're not falling behind. You're falling inwards. And that's exactly where your power has been waiting. Because once you learn how to reset your inner world, the outer world starts rearranging itself to match your new vibration. Here's what makes this phase so profound. It's quiet. No one sees it happening. You don't post it, you don't announce it. You just slowly begin to release things that no longer fit the next version of you. You stop chasing validation and start chasing alignment. You stop trying to be understood and start focusing on understanding yourself. You stop over-explaining your energy and start protecting it. That's the moment when your spirit starts to breathe again. You begin to realize that peace isn't found in the absence of problems. It's found in the ability to stay centered while problems exist. That's the real awakening, the realization that you don't need to fix everything to feel free. You just need to stop identifying with everything that's not you. And slowly something incredible happens. The heaviness doesn't disappear, but it starts to feel different. You begin to see it as a teacher instead of an enemy. Each wave of discomfort brings a message. Each moment of confusion brings awareness. You start noticing patterns, how certain thoughts drain you, how certain people trigger you, how certain habits keep you stuck. And as you observe them without judgment, you start to detach. You start to rise. But this rising doesn't look glamorous. It's messy. It's emotional. It's raw. You'll have days where you feel empty and detached from everything. Days where your purpose feels unclear. Days where your mind says, nothing is working. But those are the exact days your spirit is rebooting. It's uninstalling the old programming, the fear, the guilt, the constant need to prove yourself. It's preparing space for something new to download. And when that download begins, when your inner system starts to clear, you'll start feeling small sparks of energy again, peace for no reason, inspiration out of nowhere, gratitude that doesn't need a cause. You'll realize that the reset isn't something you force. It's something you allow. You'll look back and see that the heaviness was never trying to break you. It was trying to wake you. Every setback, every heartbreak, every moment of exhaustion was a message saying, you've gone too far from yourself. Come home. And when you finally understand that message, everything changes. Your energy starts to feel lighter, your thoughts quieter, your presence stronger. You begin to operate from awareness instead of anxiety. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it. And from that space you don't just survive and you evolve. But here's the real secret, the one that few ever figure out. The spiritual reset doesn't happen in isolation. It starts deep inside, but eventually it transforms the way you see the entire world around you. Because once your inner world resets, your outer world begins to reflect it. Relationships shift, priorities change, opportunities appear, but not in the way you expect. The first part of the reset happens quietly, in ways no one else can see. You start noticing little shifts, the way you react to stress, the way certain conversations no longer drain you, the moments where you choose calm over chaos without even thinking. At first it's subtle, almost imperceptible, but inside something is cracking open, something that's been dormant for years. Your higher consciousness begins to stir. Here's the truth. When life feels heavy, it's not the world weighing you down. It's the accumulation of all the old energies, old habits, old stories you've been holding on to. And here's the twist. The ones who experience this reset are not weak, they're deeply sensitive. They feel life at a level most people can't. They are the chosen ones who carry invisible awareness. That sensitivity becomes the doorway to transformation, but only if you allow it to guide you instead of overwhelm you. At this stage, you start questioning everything. Your routines, your beliefs, your attachments. You might even question the people you've trusted most. That questioning isn't a sign of failure. It's proof that your inner system is rebooting. It's as if your soul has pressed refresh, forcing you to reevaluate what truly matters. And suddenly all the things you thought were essential begin to fade. The noise of the world, the endless obligations, the pursuit of validation, it all starts to feel optional. But this phase is tricky, because your mind will try to trick you. It will whisper that you're losing control, that you're making a mistake, that you're letting go of too much. This is normal. Resistance always comes when you're approaching a higher level of consciousness. The mind wants certainty, the soul wants evolution, and this is the tension you must navigate. The key to moving through it is awareness. Start observing your thoughts without judging them. Notice the patterns that keep you stuck. Pay attention to which emotions linger longer than necessary. You'll realize that heaviness often comes from holding on to things that aren't yours, guilt from the past, fear about the future, the unspoken expectations of others. When you see them clearly, you begin to release them and the pressure starts to lift. You'll also notice the way your energy interacts with people. Some relationships will feel lighter, easier, almost effortless. Others will feel heavier, tense, and draining. This is not a coincidence. The reset is realigning your connections, guiding you toward the ones that nourish your soul and away from the ones that consume it. And sometimes, the people you thought were essential will no longer fit in your life. That's not a loss, it's a gain. You are clearing space for a higher vibration to enter. This is also when clarity begins to arrive. You start to see patterns in your life you couldn't see before. The struggles, the heartbreaks, the failures, they all have a hidden purpose. They were shaping you for this very moment, preparing you for a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. And with that clarity comes power. Real power, not the kind measured by achievements or approval, but the kind measured by your ability to remain grounded in your truth, no matter the chaos outside. But the reset isn't just internal, it begins to ripple outward. As your inner world changes, your outer world begins to reflect it. You notice that challenges you once feared no longer shake you. Opportunities that seemed invisible now appear naturally. People who doubted you start treating you differently, not because you're trying to impress them, but because your energy communicates a new level of alignment. Life itself begins to respond to your inner shift. Here's the critical insight. The spiritual reset is not about adding more to your life. It's about subtracting what no longer serves you. It's about creating space for your true self to emerge. And the moment you embrace this, something remarkable happens. The heaviness starts to transform. It no longer feels like a burden. It becomes a signal, a guide, a teacher, that shows you exactly where your attention and energy belong. And yet, even as you start feeling lighter, there's another stage waiting. One that most people never anticipate. Because the reset is not complete until you've faced the part of yourself that's been hiding in the shadows. The part that fears change, fears judgment, fears letting go of control. The part that has been silently whispering, "What if I'm not enough?" Confronting this shadow is uncomfortable, terrifying even. You might resist it, distract yourself, or convince yourself you're over it. But the truth is, the shadow contains the keys to your next level of growth. It's where the final release happens, the release that allows your spirit to expand fully, to operate from a place of freedom instead of reaction, to rise above the heaviness once and for all. And here's where the story takes a surprising turn. The shadow doesn't fight you. It doesn't want to trap you. It wants to be seen, acknowledged, and integrated. The moment you stop resisting it, the reset accelerates. You start to feel a sense of calm you didn't know existed. A presence within you that doesn't panic, that doesn't need to fix, that simply knows. But the real awakening comes when you realize this. The heaviness you once feared was never the enemy. It was the guide leading you to this deeper truth. A truth so subtle, so powerful, that it changes not only how you see yourself, but how you move through the entire world. And yet, even after all this, the journey isn't over. Because the next phase is where most people stumble, the phase where your inner alignment begins to test everything around you. Once your inner world starts to shift, the outer world immediately begins to challenge you. It's almost as if the universe is asking, "Are you really ready for this?" The heaviness you carried begins to transform, but your new energy doesn't fit into the old patterns. Suddenly, people, situations, and environments that once felt familiar now feel off, awkward, draining, even uncomfortable. This is not a mistake. This is the testing phase. Your mind will panic. It will ask, "Why is everything changing? Why do I feel disconnected?" But this is exactly the signal that your reset is working. Life doesn't let you rise without testing your alignment. The old connections that relied on your former energy will either adjust or fall away. This can be painful, because the world outside has expectations that you can no longer meet. But it's necessary. True spiritual resets don't just change your inner self, they demand an outer shift to match. You'll notice subtle signs first. Conversations that once flowed effortlessly now feel shallow. Certain people suddenly irritate you without reason. You crave solitude more than social validation. Your priorities start to realign in ways that confuse those around you. And this is where most people stumble. They try to force the old balance back. They think they need to stay the same to keep the world stable. But stability without alignment is just stagnation. At this point, your energy begins to act like a magnet. Some people will pull toward you, drawn to the clarity and calm you're developing. Others will push away, repelled by the higher vibration you've stepped into. The chosen ones feel this deeply. Relationships, careers, and even daily routines begin to shift. You might lose friends, partnerships, or habits you once relied on, not because they're bad, but because they no longer resonate with the person you're becoming. Here's the twist most people don't realize. The reset doesn't just remove, and it tests. It gives you opportunities to practice your new boundaries, your new awareness, and your new energy. You'll face moments that challenge your patience, your perception, and your faith in yourself. These moments are the true proof of your evolution. The heaviness you feared isn't coming back to punish you. It's coming back to confirm that you've leveled up. During this testing phase, clarity becomes your most powerful tool. You start seeing patterns you couldn't see before, how certain people drain you, how old habits sabotage your energy, how your past decisions created cycles that no longer serve you. Observation without judgment becomes your secret weapon. It's the difference between reacting like before and responding from a place of awareness. But here's something most people miss. This phase can feel lonelier than anything you've experienced. The world seems out of sync with your energy. Friends don't understand why you've changed. Family doesn't recognize the shift. Even your own mind questions the transformation. And yet, this loneliness is not punishment, it's liberation. It's the space where your spirit can reorganize without external interference. You'll start noticing internal shifts too. Old fears surface. The voice that told you you can't do this alone returns. Old insecurities appear as if to test whether you've truly integrated your new awareness. And this is crucial. The reset is incomplete without these tests. You're being asked to prove to yourself that your strength, clarity, and peace are real, not dependent on the world outside. In the testing phase, every challenge is also an invitation. The tension you feel, the discomfort, the uncertainty, it's all pointing to the areas of your life that need alignment. It's showing you where you've been giving your energy away unnecessarily and where you need to reclaim it. And the moment you begin to act from awareness instead of fear, the reset accelerates. Here's the beauty of this phase. It's preparing you for the next level of your life. The heaviness you once thought was a burden becomes a guide. The discomfort becomes a teacher. And the challenges, once overwhelming, now feel like checkpoints. Each one confirms that you are stepping into a higher version of yourself, a version that isn't just reacting to life, but shaping it from clarity. But there's one last secret in this phase, the final lesson most never see coming. Because the outer world is only testing your inner alignment, it will eventually present a situation that challenges everything you thought you knew about your life, your people, and even your purpose. This is where most people falter, where the reset either completes or stalls. By the time you reach this stage, everything inside you has been tested. Your mind, your emotions, your energy, all have been pushed to the edge to see if you can hold your alignment when life refuses to cooperate. And now comes the moment most people misunderstand. The reset isn't about escaping challenges or avoiding heaviness. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that can meet life fully without being pulled off balance. The final phase of the reset begins with a simple but profound realization. Life doesn't have to be easy for you to feel free. The chaos that once overwhelmed you now exists alongside your clarity. The noise that once scattered your energy now coexists with your inner stillness. And the heaviness you once feared now becomes a tool, a gauge of how aligned you truly are. You start to understand that heaviness is not something to resist, it's something to learn from. At this point, the inner shifts become permanent. You notice subtle changes in the way you breathe, the way you carry yourself, the way your presence affects those around you. Your energy is no longer a reflection of the world's chaos, but a reflection of your own centeredness. You operate from a place of calm authority. People notice it. Life notices it. Even the situations that once terrified you now feel like opportunities for mastery rather than sources of stress. And here's the real transformation. The reset teaches you that your power is not in controlling the outside world, but in mastering the inside world. You no longer need external validation to feel secure. You no longer need constant approval to feel worthy. Your energy is self-sufficient. And with this self-sufficiency comes a freedom that's rare, almost sacred. You'll also notice your relationships shift in profound ways. Connections that were draining dissolve naturally. Relationships that are authentic deepen. Your interactions become less about obligation and more about alignment. You start attracting people and situations that match your new vibration, people who honor your energy and inspire your growth. The reset also reveals your true priorities. You'll see clearly what matters, what doesn't, and where to focus your energy for the highest impact. You stop scattering yourself across distractions, obligations, and false responsibilities. Instead, you invest in what nourishes your soul, builds your strength, and elevates your consciousness. But the ultimate breakthrough comes when you realize that the heaviness you once feared was the vehicle for your evolution. Every difficult moment, every struggle, every period of exhaustion was a message guiding you back to yourself. Once you embrace that truth, the reset is complete. You have not only lifted the weight, you have learned to use it to rise higher. And here's the final insight. This transformation is ongoing. The spiritual reset doesn't end once life stabilizes. Life will continue to test you, to push you, to challenge your clarity. But now you respond differently. Now you are grounded in awareness. You operate from a place of alignment rather than reaction. You navigate life's storms without losing your center, and you carry a strength that others can feel, even if they can't see it. You've learned that heaviness is not your enemy. Chaos is not your enemy. Resistance is not your enemy. They are your guides, your teachers, and the mirrors showing you where your energy needs to expand. Once you understand that, every challenge becomes an opportunity, every setback a lesson, and every difficult moment a doorway to a higher consciousness. So if you've felt life pressing down on you, know this: you are not weak. You are not failing. You are awakening. And the reset you've been waiting for has been happening quietly inside you all along. If this connected with you, thank you for watching until the end. Like and subscribe. Remember, your energy is yours to protect, your clarity is yours to maintain, and your evolution is unstoppable. The heaviness may return, but now you know how to rise above it. Every single time.